What is up, guys? How we doing? Today I wanted to talk about Snyderbros. I wanted to talk about the war going on between Zack Snyder and James Gunn and go through their histories a little bit and talk about it. I'm a big fan of some of both of their movies, more towards James Gunn, but I cannot believe the amount of people that are sucking off Zack Snyder to the point that every goddamn frame in the Superman commercial is being torn apart by them. Like, see, oh my God, he punched teeth out here. That's not my Superman. That's too violent. Meanwhile, Man of Steel. But yeah, punching out teeth is too violent. Zack Snyder, you know what his first movie was that he directed? Dawn of the Dead. Who was it written by? Oh, yeah, that's right, James Gunn, and that's arguably his best movie. Have you seen the original Dawn of the Dead? Actually, not too bad, surprisingly. But he went on to make 300, which, if you go back and watch 300 today and you're not 14, is pretty boring. Even when you were 14, was pretty boring. Zack Snyder has a very bad habit of making movies way too longer than they are. Also, fun fact, I got to do a paper in high school on what 300 got wrong about the history of the Spartans, and, let's just say it ended up being a 10,000 word paper, using way too dark of color grading, using way too much slow motion, using one-liners that are cool if you're 13, right? I will say Sucker Punch. I'm one of the rare few that actually very much enjoyed that movie. I saw that in theaters when it came out, and I loved it. I loved the bleak ending, and it was surprisingly decent. But a lot of people hate Sucker Punch, and that one gets kind of swept under the rug. Now, let's get to the DCEU. Alright, Man of Steel was not bad. I'm not a huge Superman fan, but as far as Man of Steel goes, it was not bad. But I'm not a big Superman fan, and it wasn't a good enough movie to make me one, And I got my complaints with Superman are basically the same as everyone else's, but I'm actually very much interested in this new Superman movie. Just, I don't know, it just felt a little... not grounded. He was more looked at as like a god, and I didn't really like that aspect of it, and I don't know. It could have been better, but when it comes to BVS and Justice League, Zack Snyder got it up the ass. It was pretty unfair that Warner Brothers tasked this man with trying to do what Marvel did in 10 years in 2, basically. Hey, make BVS, hurry the hell up, and, try to join all the Justice League members in it, and then make a Justice League movie. And then they screw him out of the Justice League movie because of tragedy in his personal life. And then we get the 4-hour version on HBO Max. Sorry. And, I don't blame Zack Snyder for that. BVS was a huge disappointment, and there's only so much you can do with studio heads up your ass wanting you to shove so much into a movie, And so I don't fault him for the DCU movies, so I'm not really going to talk about them very much. Although I did find this interesting thread of Snyderbros saying, Zack Snyder understands Wonder Woman so much more than Jocelyn. You do understand he didn't direct Wonder Woman, right? And then whenever he did direct the Justice League, even in the longer version, Wonder Woman and all of her character traits and growths and what made her a strong character and how she was written in the Wonder Woman movie that you guys are claiming Zack Snyder understands her for, he kind of just kind of put her to the side, even in the 4-hour version of the Wonder Woman movie. So you're crediting him with understanding a character on a movie that he didn't direct. And that, I think, sums up Snyderbros. If anything, you should be looking forward to this Superman movie because I'm pretty sure Zack Snyder and James Gunn are friends, considering they worked together on Dawn of the Dead, and if this succeeds, I could 100% see James Gunn giving Zack Snyder a, job to direct a movie. The problem with Zack Snyder is his writing. It's his writing. He definitely has his style, the dark, gritty color scaling, which I don't personally like, but it does work sometimes. A lot of slow-mo, and but where his movies fall apart for me are writing. Watchmen, another movie that, again, to me is just too fucking long, not as good as people make it out to be, and while it's better, I think it's better than BVS. Better than the Justice League, even. It's still not great. It's okay. It is what it is. But I'm not going to fault him for anything in the DCU. That's on Warner Brothers, and that's who you should be mad at. He got screwed over and was asked to do an impossible task. And it failed, inevitably, which is on Warner Brothers. And they basically blamed Zack Snyder and then threw him to the curb and then gave the job to James Gunn. And then now all of your anger is placed on James Gunn when it should be on the studio. It should be, because they're the one that ultimately screwed Zack Snyder. But let's talk about Rebel Moon, since Zack Snyder is such a fucking visionary. Rebel Moon was supposed to be the new Star Wars, and it's dog shit. I think Rebel Moon is a cultivation of all the flaws in his writing and his directing coming together in one movie. And look, art is art, alright? Art is subjective. If you like Zack Snyder movies, cool. But my opinion about Zack Snyder movies they're cool for 14-year-olds. The slow-mo action scenes, the cheesy-ass one-liners, they're cool if you're 14. But when you revisit them as an adult, it's like, yeah, this movie is 30 minutes too long, and it's just not that good. Now, let's get on to James Gunn. Again, I want you to understand that Zack Snyder's first film was written by James Gunn. Okay? So, Dawn of the Dead is my favorite movie by Zack Snyder. And coincidentally, it's just written by James Gunn. I think the opening sequence to Dawn of the Dead, to give Zack Snyder praise, is one of the best opening fucking sequences in any horror movie ever. I've compared it to 28 Weeks Later and gone back and forth on which one I like better. Because it's amazing. That scene where she's just driving through the town and you get that overshot of all the chaos going on beside her. That is an awesome scene. And they actually aired that on TV whenever the movie came out. I don't know if y'all are old enough to remember that, but to show that scene and get you interested, and very well done, very well executed movie. The thing with Zack Snyder is he needs to stop writing his movies and direct. That's where James Gunn, in my opinion, has Zack Snyder beat. We can debate which one's the better director all day long. In my opinion, it's James Gunn. But I don't think it's debatable that the better writer is James Gunn. Now, James Gunn, wrote movies like Scooby-Doo and Movie 43, had a hand in the Belko Experiment, which is one of Blumhouse's only decent movies. The Belko Experiment was okay. I'm not going to say it was great, but it was better than it's better than Imaginary, right? Movie 43 was a very satirical, crude, kind of like parody movie, which had a lot of amazing actors in it. It was okay, once again. Slither, though, is one of my favorite horror movies ever. It's insane, it's goofy, and I think it holds up. The practical effects in it are amazing. It is downright creepy, and I love that both directors kind of got their start in horror. I love that. Brightburn was enjoyable, not James Gunn's best work. You can definitely poke a lot of holes in it, but enjoyable nonetheless. And I love the end credits of him trying to set up like an evil DC universe, and kind of wish we got a sequel to it. And according to my research, James Gunn had a hand in 13 Ghosts, and he also produced some of the Avengers movies, as well as you know, the Guardians of the Galaxy trilogy. And I don't think the Guardians of the Galaxy trilogy is a success if anybody else does it. James Gunn took all these characters that nobody fucking cared about. Not only did he make it a smash hit, but he did it again with the Suicide Squad, which is amazing. Do you know how risky that is? To see a movie like Suicide Squad bomb and then go, yep, we're going to redo it. We're going to make it rated R. And very easily could have just failed, despite it being a good movie. Yet still wasn't a badass movie. There's things you can poke holes in for sure. I'm definitely glad they went with the R rating, but good Lord almighty, that was such a disappointing movie. The original Suicide Squad, I remember being so psyched for that, and then it was just like, wow, this is one of the most generic and awfully put together movies ever, and then James Gunn came and saved it. And for those of you that don't know, Zack Snyder was actually an executive producer on both Suicide Squad movies. So once again, worked with James Gunn on the Suicide Squad. So again, I don't understand this war. And then you have Peacemaker, an airtight written show, like just phenomenally written. That I don't know what else to say. And what I love about James Gunn movies are the soundtracks. Whether it's in Guardians of the Galaxy, Peacemaker, I love his taste in music. And so now that he's making this new Superman movie, I think it's going to make 1.5 bill. I wouldn't be so confident on that other than the fact that because of the fact this is a all or nothing movie, if Superman fails, then basically this universe is going to fail. I think this is going to make 1.5 bill. But the fact that you Snyderbros aren't even giving it a chance, you're just hating it. I'm watching big time streamers like 3C Films talk about Superman and a part he likes from the commercial, and then somebody will jump the gun and go, this just shows that you don't even know who Superman is. Like giving him shit for liking a scene. And then it's like, okay, elaborate on your opinion, because you guys are so good at giving your opinion but not backing it up with anything, because you have nothing to back it up with. Like, it's fine to like an art. What's not fine is to shit on somebody else for liking an art. And that's what you guys do, so I'm gonna do it to you for a second. Snyder movies are cool for 14-year-olds. He needs to let somebody else write his movies. His directing style is a style that can be enjoyable, but his writing sucks. Okay? And I can back that up with all the evidence in the world. For you to say that because somebody liked a commercial of Superman, that shows that you don't know who Superman is, and then not back that up with anything, and then comment later, Zack Snyder did it better. There it is. That's why you're mad that this big streamer is talking good about this movie. Just because it's not Zack Snyder directing. Do you know how stupid that is? I gotta tell you, man, the commercial of Superman, the 3 minutes of that commercial are better than of Man of Steel. I said it. Like, no, this just shows that no matter how good the Superman movie is, you're gonna hate it just because of who's making it, which is fucking stupid. Congratulations on that. Your comment makes no sense. If you actually do your research, James Gunn was actually a bigger fan of DC as a kid and loved the Superman movies and DC Comics even more so than Marvel. So I think everything happens for a reason, and James Gunn is in the right place. So if anything, I would think James Gunn would know the character of Superman better than your dumbass disliking a scene from a trailer just because it's not Zack Snyder. So, like, if anything, if you're going to get mad at anybody, you should be getting mad at Warner Brothers for tasking Snyder with something impossible, it inevitably failing, and then giving him the boot and giving it to James Gunn. The person you should be mad at is Warner Brothers. But I don't know why you're getting mad at James Gunn, because he not only didn't have anything to do with this, but if this succeeds, Zack Snyder may very well get a directing job in the DCU in the future. But I cannot stand this stupid war. It's not even really a war. It's a one-sided war. It's Snyderbros crying and then jerking off with their tears, and then fans of both just going like, what is your deal? Like, I love that you like the art. If you get enjoyment out of Zack Snyder films, that is great. But to go and shit on everybody for liking James Gunn or saying dumb shit. Like, Zack Snyder really understands the character of Wonder Woman when he didn't even fucking make Wonder Woman. Or Zack Snyder this. Zack Snyder really understands the character of Superman. The fact you're a fan of this commercial shows you don't. Oh, God. But actually, from what it sounds like, James Gunn has done a lot more research and read a lot more about Superman. So you're giving these opinions backed up by nothing just because you're butthurt that your boy isn't directing. But if this film succeeds, he could very well end up directing in the DCU in the future. You're shitting on people for liking art. So I'm going to take a moment to shit on you. Thanks. Because from a technological filmmaking perspective, James Gunn is better, and by far definitely a better writer. But whatever. Y'all are going to be there day one when Superman comes out, and you're just going to, right after, no matter how good the movie is. I wonder what it's like to be that person.